grade 11s. We are doing maths again. This is Sishem Charlie. I'm helping you with quadratic inequalities today. All right? So, guys, we are starting. We're working with quadratic inequalities. All right? First of all, I need to give you some terminology here. All right? So, one, what does the following words or terms mean? Okay? An expression, equation, inequality. I'm giving you 2 minutes to just discuss that, and then after 2 minutes, I'm going to continue and tell you what these three mean. All right, guys, well done. Those of you who've worked it out what an expression, equation, and inequality is. I'll just give you quick examples, okay? Now, if I give you maybe, for instance, 2x plus 7, all right? Or maybe we have 4x minus 3 over 2x squared plus 1. So this is an expression, okay? Right, we can have y equals 2x plus 7. That's just a function. That's an expression. It doesn't have an equal sign. But if I give you maybe 2x plus 7 equals to 0, so this one, it's an equation. It is equals to 0. Now we look at your inequality. We'll work through these things throughout, okay? Like from grade 8, 9, and 10, you've been doing these things, but let's just recap again. The 2x plus 7 less than 0, or 2x plus 7 greater than naught. That's an inequality. So you've got, the inequality has got an inequality sign, and then an equation has got an equals to, and your expression does not have equals to. But when you work it out, you don't have equals to 0 and so forth. All right. Now, what is a quadratic equation? Okay. With this one, I'm also going to give you a minute to just discuss among yourselves, and then give me what a quadratic equation is. Thank you, guys. Now, let's go back. What a quadratic equation is. Okay, a quadratic equation is an equation where the highest power is 2. All right? So if I give you that 2x minus 1, what's the highest power here? It's 1. All right? So, but if you've got 2x squared plus 3x plus 5 maybe, the highest power here is 2. So that is your quadratic equation. Now remember in grade 8, when you were solving linear equations, you had only the highest power was 1 and you had only one solution. So here there will be 2 solutions to the quadratic equation. And the standard form for the quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. All right? And then now we're also going to look at the principles of solving quadratic equations. And for example, all right, a quadratic equation can be used by finding the factors. And then again, if you look here on this equation, you've got 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. How do you solve that? Right? So you'll have to factorize. You get 2x and then x. Now you check with the factors of 12 again, that when you are multiplying by that 2, you add or subtract should be giving you a 5 in the middle. All right? So if we try 4 here and then 3, all right? And then the sign, it's a plus and then a minus equals to naught, right? We in grade 11, we are familiar now with factorizing a quadratic. But guys, please make sure when you have factorized, you can work it out and see if it gives you back the original equation. Now, with this one that I've worked out, so you've got 2x minus 3 bracket x plus 4. Right, let's multiply out, okay? 2x by 2x, that's 2x squared, right? And then a plus 4 times 2x, that's plus 8x, right? Your middle term will be minus 3x, right? And then the last term is minus 12. So you have that 2x squared, right? Your like terms, your middle term will be 8x minus 3x, which is plus 5x minus 12, right? So now watch what we are talking about. This is an expression at that particular moment, all right? So it goes back to the original one, all right? Now, if we continue by solving this equation, we have a 2x minus 3 and an x plus 4. What does this mean, okay? You can either have the 2x minus 3 equals to 0 or the x plus 4 equals to 0, right? Now we work it out. Your 2x, it's equals to 3. Then how do you get rid of that 2 that's multiplying the x? You divide by 2 throughout. So you get x is 3 halves or x is negative 4, right? So this is how you solve your quadratic equation, which is just recap of what we did in grade 10. All right, so now if we look again here, the example of solving a quadratic using a graph. Now, when we were working it out earlier, that the 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, you factorize that to get x plus 4, and then the other factor as well. So now if you look at your graph, you've got a minus 4 there, and then here, that's your 3 divided by 2. All right, so these are your zeros of this function. So that graph, which in this case is y equals to 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, when is it equals to 0? So you're working out the x-intercepts of that graph, right? Now, what are the roots of this equation? So these are the roots of the equation, your 3 halves and also the negative 4. Right. Now, next, guys, you remember that we have ways of solving quadratic equations. That other one, the first one, we factorize, and then at some instances they will say, okay, use the quadratic formula or completing a square, right? So we will be practicing all those this year as well. But now when we come to the quadratic inequality, remember we said an inequality will be having an inequality sign. It's either a less than or a greater than, or less or equals to, or greater or equals to. Now, but then this is a quadratic inequality. It's in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. And we'll be looking at ways on working out how do you solve a quadratic inequality. Okay, grade 11s, there are many methods of solving a quadratic inequality, but I'll just touch on the three. When you're solving a quadratic inequality, you can either use a number line or a graph, a rough parabola graph, or the sign table, okay? Now, all of these methods, they start with solving a quadratic equation, all right? And then now, moving on, okay, right? Giving this example, guys, solve a quadratic inequality using a number line, right? First of all, we said all of these methods, you have to first solve the quadratic. It's in your mind, you are as if solving a quadratic equation. First of all, I'm going to factorize this part, okay? All right, so how do you factorize that? Okay, I've got x squared minus x minus 12. Okay, I'll have two brackets. That's x minus 4 and then x plus 3. Now, remember when you were solving, it was equals to 0. You could easily straight away go and say x minus 4 is 0 or x plus 3 is 0, and then you get your x equals to 4 or x equals to minus 3. But in this case, guys, you will have to use a number line, all right? Now, remember, we've got two solutions for this quadratic equation, or rather inequality. What are you going to be your critical values? After solving for x, you will get x equals to minus 3 and then x equals to 4. Now, with your number line, and then looking at this is your less than 0. So you'll have the critical values minus 3 and then 4. Here, I'm taking the numbers greater than 4, substituting them in this factorized format, and then any number greater than 4, substitute here, and I'm only concentrating on the sign, all right? So if I put a 5, that's going to be 5 minus 4, which is a 1, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 times 1, you get a positive answer, all right? Now, in the middle, I'm taking numbers between minus 3 and 4, and a random number, if I take a 0, right? So that will be 0 minus 4, 0 plus 3, I get minus 4 times 3, which is negative 12. And the sign of that answer, it's a minus, right? And then this side of negative 3, I take numbers less than minus 3, which, for instance, I take minus 4. I'll have minus 4, which is negative 8, minus 4 plus 1, it's negative 1. Then a negative 4 times negative 1, I get a positive 4. So the answer is a plus. And now, guys, coming back here, what does this less than mean? It's negative. It's below the x-axis, so we're looking at a minus, all right? And then your minus is in the middle, so you read off your solution. X is between minus 3 and 4, right? Guys, I'm going to give you a break, and then we move on to the question that you guys will have to solve.